A Day in Colonial Haiti by Philip Gerard. Narrated by Jasper Vaughn. At 2 a.m., the field hand feeds the sugarcane mill. Jolicoeur cannot remember ever being so tired. He grabs yet another sugarcane stalk from the pile and gives it to the woman next to him, who feeds it into the mill. In a matter of seconds, the rollers swallow the stalk and crush it. The juice falls into a gutter that leads to copper vats in a nearby building. The rollers then spit out the remnants of the sugarcane stalk. They are burned next door to heat up the vats of the sugarcane juice so that the sugar can be crystallized and refined. Refining sugar is a complex process handled by highly skilled slaves. Jolicoeur doesn't fit that description. He's just a lowly field hand who cuts the cane and occasionally helps out in the mill. His job tonight is to hand sugarcane stalks to a different slave who inserts them into the teeth of the mill's 3 rollers. Not just another slave, my wife, Flora. Flora looks even more exhausted than him. She, too, worked all day in the fields and well into the night at the sugar mill. Flora is also producing a different kind of crop, a child. Once it is born, it will be added to the plantation list of assets along with mills and acres of sugarcane. One more stalk into the gap. Careful! The plantation owner has modified the mill rollers so that they rotate faster and they have a nasty bite. They swallow the cane in a quick gulp and never, ever stop. On older plantations, mills are powered by mules, which have to be changed out regularly because animals need their rest. But the owners of the Belin plantation use water and wind to provide an endless power supply. You got to hand it to the whites. They always have good ideas when it comes to making money. These technical improvements were introduced by Paul Belin, a progressive sugar planter who is a superstar in the sugar growing community. Belin owns a 25% share in the plantation where Jolicoeur and Flore are enslaved, so he owns 1/4 of their child to come. Sadly, Jolicoeur is used to being bought and sold. Like Flore, he was born in Africa, where he was first taken captive by local elites and then sold to a European trader who transported him across the Atlantic. Over the course of his life in the colony, he's been bought and sold by 4 different owners. Each one branded their mark on his chest in capital letters: Gournet, Boudet, Brie, and finally Belin. Jolicoeur cannot read, but his biography is written on his skin. Some slaves burn their own skin to erase the marks, but he hasn't worked up the courage to do it yet. Slave catchers use their marks to identify runaways and bring them back to the plantation for a reward. Jolicoeur knows this firsthand because he tried to run off with Flora 3 years earlier. Things didn't go as planned. I should have burned the marks. Jolicoeur wipes his brow with his free hand. At least there is a sea breeze tonight. The Belin plantation is located at the lower end of the valley of Limbe, 12 miles west of the Cape. All that stands between the Belin sugar mill and the Atlantic is another plantation named Lenormand. That neighboring plantation is famous in Haiti. A voodoo priest named McKendall was enslaved there a generation ago when Jolicoeur was still a teenager. He too worked at a sugar mill. He even lost a hand in a milling accident. He too ran away. But McKendall did more. He planned to poison the whites and take over the colony. He was eventually captured and sentenced to be burned alive, but rumor has it he used his voodoo powers to transform into a mosquito right before his execution. Maybe he'll return one day to free his suffering brothers. The second coming of McKendall cannot come soon enough for Jolicoeur. His master Belin often visits France, and in his absence, the slaves are pushed harder than ever. The agents who oversee absentee plantations earn a share of the yearly production, so they only care about the short-term output, not the long-term well-being of the workforce. To make matters worse, imported slaves are getting more expensive every year, So everyone in the colony tries to make do with fewer slaves, no matter the consequences. Slavery was always hell. Somehow, it gotten worse. Jolicoeur's current workday began on Saturday at the crack of dawn. Slaves normally get that day off to tend their own gardens, but the winter and early spring were very wet this year and they're behind on the harvest. Now that the weather has cleared, the agent wants to make up for lost time. All morning, Jolicoeur cut sugarcane with his bill hook, battling the bugs, the razor-sharp leaves, and the mountain sun. When the bell rang for lunch, Jolicoeur spent his 2-hour break weeding his garden as fast as he could so he and Flore would have enough to eat this summer. A priest once told Jolicoeur that by law, the master must feed his slaves and let them rest during the hot part of the day. Well, tell that to the master. I don't want to go hungry like we all did during the war. After the lunch break, the harvest resumed. The afternoon was no different than the morning, except that the sun was higher and hotter. Saturday ended up being a work day like all the others. Maybe Sunday will too? Authorities have shortened the list of church holidays to boost production, so maybe the slaves will be forced to work on Easter Sunday. During his years in the colony, Jolicoeur has seen many slaves lose hope and let themselves go. They believe that heaven is located in Africa, so for them, death is not really death. It is a way to reverse the Middle Passage and reunite with loved ones. Jolicoeur chose his day to be a survivor, even if his life serves no purpose except enriching his master. And who knows, maybe the prophecy is right. Maybe McKendall will return someday to raise the flag of revolt. Maybe a brighter tomorrow awaits him, Flore, and their child. It may sound trite, but his secret is to take each day as it comes. He just tries to survive until the sun sets in a brief explosion of crimson. Surely the next sunrise will bring more work, but for a few minutes he can console himself with the thought that his work is done for the day. All afternoon, he thought of the upcoming calendar at the Lenormand plantation. Flora really needs this. No matter how tired, she always looks forward to this dance where she can enjoy the rhythms of the old country and regain some control over her body. As the sun slowly made its way to the west, Jolicoeur sang, and the other workers respond in unison. Today there is a calendar. When we are done with the dance, the master will give us cane. We will get plenty of rum, and tomorrow we will sleep. Well, if only. At sunset, the slave driver brought some bad news. The mill and the refiner couldn't keep up with all the sugarcane that the field hands cut during the day. So they were needed at the mill to process the cane before it turned bad. That was 8 hours ago. It is now well into Sunday morning, and the pile of sugarcane next to Jolicoeur is as high as he is. 4 feet 4 inches. The slave driver cracks his whip and tells Jolicoeur to stop dawdling. Jolicoeur can't really blame the slave driver for pushing him so hard. He may wield a whip, but he is a slave too. He does what he needs to survive, like all of us. The slave driver doesn't even have a name of his own. He is known as Paul Belin, because all slaves on the plantation go by their owner's last name. Jolicoeur once had a name of his own in the Congo, but in the colony, he was assigned a mocking French name that means pretty heart. Jolicoeur has also met slaves named No Worries and You Will Help Me. The whites sure like to have their fun when naming their slaves and their animals. The slave driver Paul may collaborate with the whites, but at least he doesn't suck up to them like a stash does. One day, that boy was allowed inside the master's big house. He saw this poem etched on the fireplace. Every job has a reward, the sweetness of which compensates the bitterness of our labors. Now the brat quotes the line every time Jolicoeur complains about his workload, as if the sweet juice oozing from the rollers ever did any good to the slaves at the mill. I need to stop thinking about that fool and focus on the task at hand. Milling is simple work, but it's also dangerous. It is all too easy to get lost in a trance and forget that the hungry teeth of the mill rollers will snap anything within their grasp. Jolicoeur takes a look at Flore. Her eyes are half closed. She can barely hold her head up. Poor thing. This is an endless day and she's carrying quite a load. Oh no! Flora did not let go of the cane stalk fast enough, and one of her fingers got stuck in the machine. One after the other, her fingers cracked in the rollers. The whole hand will be next and then the arm. Jolicoeur knows what to do. He grabs his billhook and slices Flora's arm right above the wrist. Those damn rollers never stopped. They spit out bones and tendons and go on spinning as if nothing happened. Flora looks at the stump and then at Jolicoeur. She just stands there, trying to understand what happened, while her blood spills into the juice gutter. Then, the screaming begins.
This is a note from the historian. All the characters in this chapter are real. They are known to us through the records of the Belin plantation, which are extensive, as well as runaway ads for Jolicoeur and his wife Flore. In response to such overwork, in December 1784, the King of France banned slave labor at night, on Sundays, and during pregnancies. But the colonists refused to implement the ordinance and overwork continued. As a result, the slaves of the Belin plantation were among the first to revolt when the Haitian Revolution finally began in August 1791. The black slave driver Paul Belin led that revolt until he was killed by his fellow rebels for being too moderate. The field hand Jolicoeur apparently became an officer in the Revolutionary Army. We do not know what happened to his wife, Flora. As for the boy Eustache, he protected his master during the revolt and then followed him to the US and later France, when Eustache became such a symbol of the faithful slave in white eyes that his skull was preserved by phrenologists who hoped to understand the physiological causes of loyalty. You can still see casts of his head in museums from Harvard to France. This book is available on Amazon as an audiobook, a Kindle ebook, a paperback, and a hardback.